Alright, I am using two screens. I've got my iPad directed toward my sketchbook, and then I've got a computer open looking at the PDFs. So we're going to go over these shapes to make sure you all actually understand what's going on. Okay, so a shape is a flat area that stands out from the space around it due to a boundary, such as a line, or a boundary such as value. So it doesn't always have to be encased by a line. It can be encased by other things like value. Okay. First slide was a geometric slide. I think everybody got that. Geometric shapes are shapes that appear related to geometry, such as circles, squares, triangles, rectangles, this rhombus type thing. All of those are geometric. Okay, so what's the difference between rectilinear and geometric? So circles are found in geometry, but circles are not rectilinear. Rectilinear shapes stress angles and straight lines. So if you look at the geometric shapes, the triangle, the square, the rhombus are all geometric and rectilinear, but the circle is just geometric. So what's a rectilinear shape? You can say a lightning bolt. It's a bad lightning bolt, but like a lightning bolt is rectilinear. Mountains, that can be rectilinear as well. And then the opposite of that would be curvilinear, so shapes that stress curves. So here's an example of a geometric curvilinear shape, a circle. So if you want a curvilinear shape that isn't geometric, little like splat shapes are curvilinear. I think for the most part, y'all understood these three: geometric, curvilinear, and if I can get it in the screen, I can't, rectilinear somewhere over there. Okay, an implied shape. Some of y'all, I think y'all got it, maybe not everybody. An implied shape suggests that there's a shape there without it being totally filled in. So I can use an implied line to create the implied shape of a square. I can use these little Pac-Man shapes to imply two things. Implying that there is a house shape here. I'm going to erase that first house that I drew. I think I am. So implying that house shape there, and also implying that there's circles as well. So implied shapes. I got some questions about the organic biomorphic shapes. I think that's where people started to get confused. So organic means like earthy things found in nature. Biomorphic is related to biology. So both organic and biomorphic are related to nature and earth. So natural world of plants, animals, sea, sky. So an organic shape, I mean, you could argue that like a leaf and even like a feather could potentially be organic. So like the leaves and feathers can be organic. Clouds can be organic. But whenever we're talking about biomorphic, we're talking about shapes that are related to biology. They're irregular, normally curvilinear, and they're related to living organisms. So I want you to think about cells, like cell structure. You could also go like the peanut root. But cells are typically biomorphic. Think about philia, like the little hairs on cells. Really curvilinear, fun shapes. Those are biomorphic, organic, natural. They don't conform to like geometric restrictions. And usually if something's biomorphic, it's organic. And if something's organic, it might be biomorphic, like they're kind of related. Amorphous. Some of y'all did really well with that one. I like what y'all come up with. But amorphous is a shape that's indistinct. So you want to think clouds, smoke, fog, things that don't seem to have clear boundaries. It's kind of hard to draw unless you're using charcoal, shading with your pencil on its side, maybe using an ink wash. If you're just trying to draw an amorphous shape with a pencil, it's going to be really hard. But it's a formless area. Remember, a shape is an area that stands out around it due to differences. So it's a formless area, but it still stands out around it, or stands out from the areas around it, so it's still considered a shape. Ways to achieve this, I just mentioned charcoal, graphite shading, ink wash, so water-based materials are great for amorphous shapes, but also airbrush. Like, you know what they do at the beach with shirts, you can airbrush amorphous shapes. Images that might be amorphous are clouds, smoke, fire, well, not fire, but some smoke, fog, those types of things. Decorative shape just means it's flat and it's meant to be flat. It's not supposed to have depth to it. So decorative shapes are typically what you see on like patterns on clothes. And by the way, decorative can be biomorphic, curvilinear, rectilinear, etc. I'm gonna skip ahead to the objective shape. Okay. A few people were confused about that. Objective versus subjective. Objective would be, I'm gonna draw a cup or a mug. That looks like a mug. Subjective would be, I'm gonna draw a cup, but I'm gonna have some fun with the way it looks. So it's like taking the same thing, making one look like it actually does, and then having more fun with the proportions and the way it looks. So like abstract shapes are subjective, non-objective shapes are subjective, meaning it just comes from your head. So like my little curvilinear shapes, that's a non-objective, that's a subjective shape. These little fun guys over here, I wasn't thinking about anything when I drew these three, so that could be subjective.